paper, part B. Problem areas. Activist lobbying, fraudulent applications for healthy people, dispensary clarification, patient-to-patient transfer clarification, caregivers ripping off patients, proliferation of gangs and organized crime, jurisdictional contradictions by county, driving impairment, proximity to schools, churches, special interest zones, tax evasion, robberies, non-police, and community security. These are some of the areas that are problems for law enforcement. And look at the stats. Guy gets shot to his death in Ferndale with pot. A knife-wielding break-in suspect gets shot in Warren. TNT Resource Center gets robbed in Lansing, loses $6 grand. Hydro Giant late-night break-in in Dearborn, loses $5 grand. 2 teens kidnapped and tortured over an alleged break-in in Detroit at a medical marijuana house. 3 doors down, owner murdered. Yet the inherent cause still lies in the infrastructure. It's actually just your everyday, normal bullies. The activists, the hippies, and the self-righteous won't let the program progress. Once self-appointed consigliere, Adam Brook, outrageously claimed, "We are taking ownership of the movement." I thought that was the Michigan Department of Community Health's job last year. Despite the ample advantages Michigan offers, it seems destined to be destroyed by the very groups that fostered it in. Normal nationally is a fine organization, but the cult-like nature in Michigan insulates it from reality by relying completely on internal sources. There is suspicion that everyone is a cop. Legitimate entrepreneurs are referred to as those who just crawled out from the woodwork. And the mantra of their movement is, the legislature can't agree on anything, so they'll never change the law by the 3/4 it takes. However, Cooper, Schuette, and the sinister GOP are currently providing a second serious look at that. While talking heads like Matt Abel, Mike Camoran, Brandy Zink, or Jay Dallow seem to add legal credibility to pro-medical causes, they're all silent partners in dispensaries. So there's the motivation. Do they recuse themselves as lawyers or, in Brandy's case, a paralegal, I think, then in the face of conflicting interests? No, they seek out the media to get their talking points out like any good ascribing politician would. Let's face it, dispensary language, if inserted in the initiative, would have alienated many voters, possibly dropping below the 51% level of victory needed to pass the act. It was strategically omitted, knowing full well the issue would arise on a city-by-city basis, effectively kicking the expensive litigative can down the road to the cops and the courts in already cash-strapped Michigan. According to the information provided from the 248 Mr. Pot Info Directory Assistance Line in 2010, the most common complaint was caregiver theft, or patients and or dispensaries ripping off other patients. The major scam is that groups pick up large lots of patients, co-opt them, use their name, toss them a couple ounces, and then sell the rest of the pounds on the open market at great profits. There's a perpetuity and a constant harvest so that these patients don't wind up with anything. And the dispensaries don't talk to each other about who's selling them their overages. A trafficker could sell 8 pounds to one, 8 to another, 8 to a third, etc. And no group, like the MACC for example, wants to do anything to regulate themselves. The profits are too big. But watch how they hide behind their infringement of rights claims. The activist media will cover for the crimes of these non-compliant criminals too, by attempting to solicit sympathy from their readers. The Midwest Cultivator ran a story about a legitimate raid on the Teichman family, and they literally put the whole family, young kids and all, on the front page. Now, as a PR person, I have to counter other people's concern about how you druggies have kids involved, and overcoming these negative perceptions has made my job challenging. But let's face it, some of these guys don't want to be regulated. They're happy stealing from their fellow Michiganders, and who will stop them? Burn patients are recalcitrant to involve law enforcement, and the caregivers, co-ops, and collectives know it. With patient-to-patient transfers, if someone checks to see if I have a card, 9 out of 10 do not check to see if I am who my card says I am. You know, Everyone's got a problem in the business. How long can you keep weed from the time you clip to the sale? You know, uh, Everybody wants a guarantee and exclusivity. I remember Green Trees, when I was selling space in the calendar, they said, how much to, they said, I want to guarantee that you won't invite any more doctors, and how much to buy it out. Advanced Nutrients has been promising exclusivity in some geographical marketing areas, and then supplying a competitor who opens up 2 miles away. So says Walt Michaels of H2 Hydro, and this is the least of the turbulent sector of the industry. So there's a lot of issues to be worked on, and I have some recommendations that follow.